Hello and welcome to the overview of the Performance Hypertrophy program brought to you by Endomath.com, the ultimate human performance company. First off, let's explain who this program is designed for. As performance athletes, we often reach a limiting factor where we need to add muscle tissue. But if our goal is optimal performance, we do not want to add hypertrophy and sacrifice our mobility or strength. This program was designed to stimulate muscle growth while keeping optimal performance. It's a 4-week program that consists of 4 days a week of training with an optional 5th. Because this program requires barbell movements, it is suggested for intermediate to advanced lifters. Now let's go into actually how to set up the program. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Endomath.com. Once we're there, we're going to go to Train. We'll go to Free Programs. If we scroll down here, we're going to look at the Performance Hypertrophy program. Now there's 2 documents that you need to download here. The first one is the description that will go more in depth on how to run the program and the concepts behind the program. Once you've read that, go and download the Excel spreadsheet here. When you pull it up, it'll look like this. We're going to go to the Info tab and we're going to plug in our numbers. So we're going to go right here to our 1 rep maxes. We're going to plug in the numbers here. If you do not know your 1 rep max on these movements, you need to go test. Well, if you're going to test your movements, I always suggest actually doing a 5 rep max, which means you go as heavy as you can for 5 repetitions. And then there's a calculator up here. So let's say you lifted 100 pounds for 5 repetitions. Your estimated 1 rep max would be 112 pounds. So then you could use that number to then plug in to the current 1 rep maxes down here. I'm going to plug in my numbers here. We're going to do 385 pounds for my squat max. This is a beltless, Olympic style squat that I'm going to go with. That was my max for that. Then for my bench is 265 pounds. And then I'm going to put 420 pounds in here for a beltless deadlift. And the last movement I have is 165 pounds for my overhead press. Now if you see, it automatically populates down here into your training max. So it's going to be 90% of whatever your current 1 rep max is. In this program, we're not going to go above 90% ever. I wrote about in that description the concept of sub-maximal loading. So we'll go review that and that'll explain to you why we do this. Once those numbers are in here, we'll go week to week and you'll see how your weights are already populated into the program. All the way to week 4, the last workout, each weight is populated. The next thing we need to go into is how to program your variations. So we're going to go to our variations tab here. So if we look at our squat variations, you're going to point out your weakness here. So for my weakness on my squat, it's definitely going to be my upper back, and that's why I'm going to use an overhead squat over the next 4 weeks. So I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to type in overhead squat. And now my overhead squat is going to be my optional exercise. I'm going to put that in for each one of these weeks. After that, we're going to go into your optional exercises here. So it says a hamstring exercise. Let's go over to optional exercises. We see hamstring exercises. Now we have 5 listed here. The ones with an asterisk are my favorite, so I'm going to go into reverse hypers. So go back to week 1 and I'm going to type in reverse hyper. That's my favorite exercise that I'll put in there. Now you can do that for the same thing for single leg exercise and core. All of your variations and all of your optional exercises are already on here for you. Now let's go into how to actually run the program. So you will see that the loads will auto-populate throughout the Excel spreadsheet. Now these loads are not suggestions. These weights are very specific and they were put in there for a reason. So if you need to, go review the submaximal load section in the description overview of the program. Next up we have our variations. Now these are attacking our weakness. Now you will see you will go up to a 2 rep max all the way up to an 8 rep max through these movements, and you're going to base this off of an RPE scale. So this means rate of perceived exertion. So if you think of this on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being super easy, 10 being the hardest thing you've ever done, we're not going to go above an 8 on any of these movements. Next, on our optional exercises, it needs to be clear that the weights will vary week to week based on how you feel, based on how hard the movements were previous that day, so don't get too hooked up on the fact that the weights have to go up each week. Now, finally, we have our optional day. Now, this is a day to work on your biceps, triceps, and calves. These are movements that are muscle groups that we don't hit very often throughout the rest of the program. If you choose to do this day, it needs to either happen on day 3 or day 6, so either on Wednesday or Saturday. And if you do this day, please eliminate the biceps and triceps exercises on the deadlift day and the bench press day.